is the latest in regards to Man United trying to sign Mason Mount?
Yeah, look, we'll see. They're going to talk this out and try to sort it out, and I think it's important that that happens. Mason Mount is going to be leaving Chelsea this summer. That's still my indication. And dragging it into pre-season over some add-ons isn't really worth the hassle. So, yeah, there'll be another offer coming probably from United on the back of these conversations that they're about to have. I think it's important to note that the last offer that went in from United, the 50 plus 5.
Mm-hmm.
Chelsea took their time over that one. It wasn't like an instant rejection. And so it tells you that there was a feeling that they're not far away. Now, maybe Man United could come up with a straight 55 million and it gets done around that figure. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if that's what we started to look at. The thing is, Chelsea have got to accept something soon. We're 5 days away from Mason Mount having to turn up at Cobham for training, and that's awkward, it's embarrassing, and it's a little bit disrespectful too for a player that they don't have plans for and that doesn't really want to be there. Now, let's remember, he doesn't want to be there per se. He loves Chelsea. Like, he never wanted to leave Chelsea. Chelsea put him in this situation through a lack of respect. It wasn't just money, it was the fact that the offer they were giving him wasn't reflective of other members of that squad who were of the same, similar at least, status. That hurt him, and the repercussions of that have run deep, and that's kind of where we sit right now. From a Man United point of view, it's all about changing the feeling. June's been a pretty depressing month for Man United in the transfer market. Now their spin on it will be, we're 2 weeks into a window and we never expected to have anything done by now. July is the time. And I think that is going to be the mood changer. July should be a happy time for Man United. And you look at it now, and this new negotiation for Mount, which will be more personable with Chelsea, should make things easier. And then you've got other stories like the Onana one, which is opening up simultaneously,
Yeah,
which will give United a great opportunity to go into July with new optimism and a freshness about them.
Yeah, I feel that as a United fan. Almost, it would be nice to have got the business done earlier, but we know there's loads of things. You've got the Højlund deal, and we're going to talk about 30 million euros is the valuation, and then Man United want to get him, and suddenly the valuation is 80 million. Rice, of course, Mount, it's taken a bit longer to get the price down. Onana feels like more. I still don't understand why people think 50 million euros plus for him is expensive for how good he is. It's a crazy one for me. We should be putting that money down. But on Mount's such a weird one for us Man United fans because most of us are not overly buzzing about signing him. We're not. Some people are damn right angry. I'm more in the middle. Okay, he's not my cup of tea, but clearly my manager rates him. So I almost feel like then it needs to be an Onana, a Højlund, a Caicedo move that gets the juices flowing of Man United fans, if that makes sense, and or a player we really want out, like a Harry Maguire leaving. It does feel a little bit stale right now, especially when you're watching Arsenal and Tottenham and City, and of course Chelsea make signings, and you sort of look at it and think to yourself, "Wow, we're the only ones with our hands sort of tied behind our backs." Do you expect the Mason Mount deal to close pretty soon, though, based on everything you're hearing?
Yeah, I don't expect this to drag on into pre-season. I don't think it can. I know there's been indications that Mount will be happy to be professional and get his head down and work again at Chelsea. But that doesn't mean that that's the expectation here. The expectation is that he is given the opportunity to now leave and go and complete that move to Man United. All the pieces are in place for that transfer to happen. Chelsea have allowed it to get that far. And it'd be very, very unfair on the player to suddenly backtrack on that or to let this linger. I don't
Yeah.
feel like how this could help Chelsea to hold out for another month or whatever it would end up being just to get a few million extra on add-ons, given they've been very lucky already in this transfer window to have been able to offload all the players they have to Saudi Arabia. I was looking at this situation a couple of months ago thinking Chelsea are in big trouble because there are no takers for these players on these wages and at these fees. So the fact that the Saudi Pro League changed that for them has been a massive bonus. And at some point, you've got to take a little hit. And this is where you need to take that little hit and let Mason Mount free because, as I say, he feels undervalued, disrespected, whichever way you want to dress that up.
Mm.
and I don't think there's any way back from that in terms of signing a new contract. So it's best probably for everybody that they can move on now.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I couldn't agree with you more. I think it's just as you say, get it done, get it out the way, get it over the line, and kind of get it cleared up. Sorry. Just an interesting update here that's come from completely off the subject, come from a financial journalist who works for Bloomberg, David Hillier. He claims that Sir Jim Ratcliffe's bid to buy Man United is absolutely dead in the water. Just as some I know that that's not an area that you look at, but I
Do you know
feel
what?
like
I think that's good. Like,
mm,
I don't know which side of the fence are you on? Which bid do you prefer?
the Qataris.
Yeah, mate, I think that's the one. If you want to genuinely be a side that competes in the Premier League from now on, I think you have to accept that there might be a side to it that isn't going to be ideal. But the amount of money that is going to come on the back of that deal, and also the promises on cultural investment around the area of Manchester that they're looking to put in to show that they're interested in the area of Manchester, not just Man United Football Club. I think that there are reasons that this is a real positive, and it needs to come to a conclusion soon because Man United, they've got their hands tied a little bit with transfer. They need these 5 players through the door, and they can't afford to get 5 players through the door. And as soon as that takeover is announced, if it was to be Qataris, then it's a game changer. It really is. And I know that it's a bit awkward for United fans who have like slated PSG or Man City or Newcastle in recent times for their style of ownership. But it gets the Glazers gone, and it allows Man United to be free again in that sense and get back to being one of the biggest clubs in the world. And as soon as that takeover happens, it really does change the type of player that you can start bidding for again. And immediately, I can guarantee the second that if that is the takeover that goes ahead, the Mbappe rumours, the Neymar rumours, they'll all be back because suddenly it's actually realistic. And Man United are back in that conversation.
Mm.
And then it might be a moment when you're not talking about a Højlund signing as Man United's number 9. It might be that you can start to look bigger than that, and you can go back to those names that are actually going to influence the title race next season.
Well, this is the thing for me when it comes to this potential takeover. I do think that's been the hindrance for us. I believe if the takeover happened 2 months ago, I believe we would have been seriously in for Declan
Yeah.
Rice. I believe a big bid. The situation with the situation with I want to get their names right. With Harry Kane, I felt that although we've walked away now, if this takeover, whether it completes during the transfer window or we know it's coming, personally, I don't really. It won't matter because the word will be from Sheikh Jazim. Just spend what you need to spend, and we'll clear up the mess when we arrive.
Mm.
There will be no need to worry, and I believe deals for the likes of Harry Kane will be reignited 110% if they are to win the bid. And there was a big report. I mean this with respect to sports journalists, and I always like the fact that yourself have always said to me that it's not really your area of expertise and what you're looking
Mm.
into. The business journalists have always had a very different feeling about this takeover compared to the sports journalists in terms of who's leading the race, who's more likely to get it done and over the line. And for me, the biggest indicator has been the last 10 days. The share price has continued to rise, and the share price would always continue to rise if the Qataris are taking over because they're going to be buying everybody's shares back off of them and taking it off the
Mm.
market. Where with Sir Jim's bid, they'll be keeping it on the stock market for a period of time. So if you're an investor and you really get wind that the Qataris are winning, you want to put your money into Man United stock because the share price will skyrocket when they're announced, and then they will be buying it off you. It's almost a guaranteed return of money. So you can imagine a lot of very wealthy people are pumping a lot of money into Man United stocks. If they're getting wind through the business channels, who will get it first because they'll be connected to the Rain Group that the Qataris are coming in. If the word was it was Sir Jim, no one's going to invest their money because you don't know when the club's going to be sold completely.
Yeah.
You don't know when the Glazers are leaving. You don't know what the future looks like. So, very, very positive news. And Don here says it could be a bluff. It could be a bluff. It absolutely could be. But I don't. This is what I would say to people. I know there's a lot of United haters out there as well that think that. I'm not saying you, Don, but Bloomberg News. They're not here to bluff people. They're not looking for headlines. They don't need, like Bloomberg. They don't need the headlines to be like on the Man
They're
United.
not in this for they're not in this for hits.
Yeah. They're not in it for that. They're not in it for clicks. That's not where they make their money, if that makes sense per se. So they're just telling you what they know and telling you what the
Yeah.
market is telling them. You know.
And do you know what? Like, I mean, all the noises that are credible really have come from, even going back to Rio Ferdinand when he did that video. Like, Rio Ferdinand wouldn't have gone live with that if it hadn't come from somewhere like the very, very top. I found it a bit of a strange thing to do anyway, because it's like he suddenly thought he was Fabrizio Romano, but
Yeah.
there's no real need for Rio. Don't need to be going down that path. He's got enough of a career in other avenues. But I was like, for him to feel the need to come out and talk like this, that the indication he's got is so strong that this is the way the takeover's heading. It just had me believing like that was it. On the back of everything else that we'd heard recently about Sheikh winning, like it makes the most sense. As you say, like, I don't really get involved in the takeover stuff unless I get a particular steer directly from someone that has just come out the blue. I mean, look, I did business studies at school, but I don't feel that that really holds up against Bloomberg journalists. So I think I'll let them do their thing, and I can chat to agents about transfers.
No, 110%. I agree.